Cool. 11:02. Why don't we jump in, Jimmy, and we can have some other people join as they do. Really excited about today's webinar. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Eddie Bakey. I am the VP of Revenue at Flinks. I oversee sales, marketing, customer success, and our growth strategy. And I'm really excited to be joined by Jimmy from Flovver. Jimmy, why don't I throw it over to you for an intro?
Yes, well, first of all, Eddie, thank you very much for having me here today. Super excited to share some thoughts about how the fintech industry has evolved in the past few years. So a quick intro, my name is Jimmy Boal. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Flovver. I've been an entrepreneur since a very young age, been involved in many different ventures. But in the past few years, I've dedicated most of my time in building Flovver. So Flovver is an ecosystem of lending softwares designed to accelerate the access to funds and also make the sharing of money available to anyone. Everything started with our first product, our loan management solution. Then we've created our second product, our credit bureau. We've also been working on a financial education platform, and we will also announce many more products in the upcoming months.
Awesome. Yeah, really looking forward to it. And for those of you that don't know, Flovver is a customer of Flinks and a great one at that. And I think you epitomize kind of the new age of fintech in all the tech pieces and building that you've been doing over the last few years and continuously upping the game and proving that you need to stay on top of your tech stack. So I think let's just kind of dive in, Jimmy, and let's talk about kind of consumer behavior since 2020 almost, or even pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID, and kind of what that looks like moving forward. Why don't I toss it to you to kick us off?
Sure. So I think that as a B2B2C business, it's important to speak about the consumers, but also our customers, the businesses' behavior. So if I start with the consumers, I think that now consumers are more familiar with having a full online experience for any product or services they need. With COVID, we've seen a massive adoption for e-commerce, for other industries such as the buy now, pay later. And what really took our attention is the fact that now consumers are more willing to try alternative solutions to traditional banking. Just to give you a quick example, now we manage approximately between 125 to 150,000 loan applications per month. So I think that this demonstrates the fact that consumers are willing to try alternative solutions. But what they want exactly? Well, I think that they want a secure, seamless, and fast experience. And we've worked really hard in order to provide them such kind of experience on our side. Um, just to give you a quick example, any consumers that would like to have a loan with one of the lenders that use our technology would be able to have that in less than 60 seconds between the moment that he completed the application and actually received the money in his bank account. So it's kind of crazy to be now able to offer such kind of speed with no prior history with the customer before he completed the application. So that's kind of amazing. And now if I look at the businesses, well, they need to adapt quickly to be able to answer those kind of needs and offer that kind of experience for the consumers. And how they can do that? Well, definitely by using some good technology, just as the one that we've developed, but there's also much more good technologies on the market. And I think also that the businesses are now looking for having a fully embed experience, meaning that for all the services that they need to operate their business efficiently, well, being able to have all of these services at one place provide them a pretty good provide them a huge value. And this is also something that we've worked really hard to build, to make sure that rather they need Flinks, they need a payment processor, they need to send SMS, a credit score, whatever they need, they can do that at one place. They can have access to that. And if they have a problem with one of these services, they can just contact us directly and we'll make sure to fix the issue for them. So I think that this is also something that businesses are looking for. And I would like to share with you a pretty good example of success story that we have. We have that customer, that business that have created this amazing product that can really change people's life. It's hearing aids. And because the product was a little bit expensive, it was hard for them to make it available for as much as Canadian as possible. And because of our technology, they're now able to do the financing in-house of this product at 0% and help more Canadians to have access to this technology. So we're really happy to be part of that and really make a difference in people's life with the technology that we've built.
That's fantastic. I think you're touching on, a point that we're also common with now is the digitization journey of the customer, but also the business, right? And I think that obviously COVID exacerbated that and the need to move to a digital journey and a digital experience first. I think traditionally financial institutions, the brick and mortar retail locations, you go in, you want to get a loan, 3 to 5 day approval, 3 to 5 more days before you get the money in your bank account. So we've sped that up. But from your perspective, how do you balance then the speed and the customer journey with the risk of fraud, especially in today's day and age? I think obviously fraudsters are always one step ahead, and we're more reactive than we'd like to be. So how do you kind of manage the digital journey and the need for speed, if you will, with making sure that you have the resources in the back end to mitigate your risk?
Yeah, before we jump too deep into that, I would like to give a huge shout out to all the fintech owners that are listening, because having a fintech in these days, it's like an endless journey in terms of investment and in terms of development. So I would like to give them a huge props, but uh, I think that this is also one of the reasons why people are shifting to cloud-based solution, because it's more secure, it's more available, it's more accessible. Basically, provides so much good value, such as data regulation and more. So we've seen lots of movement, and this is also a big trend in order to provide a good level of security. I would also like to say that companies need to be aware of all the good technologies in the market. I think that Flinks is an amazing example. By the way, if you're not already using Flinks, please do. These guys are amazing. That was my 30-second commercial, Eddie, just for you. But more seriously, I think that Flinks provides so much good values to our customers. They give good insight, they minimize risk, they accelerate the process. So having partners as Flinks really make a difference for digitalization. And I would also like to say that companies need to be careful with the partners that they're choosing also, because if they choose partners that do not share the same values in terms of security, in terms of accountability, in terms of investment, well, they might take a lot of time into integrating their solution to their own project, and with potentially no adoption at all. And even worse, if there's a security leak with that partner, well, it can bring more problems than solution. So I think that Flinks is doing a great job choosing partners that has a SOC 2 certification to make sure that they protect consumers' information. So congrats to Flinks on doing that. And I also want to say, with the digitalization and everything that's new, like, I don't want to state the obvious, but I think that AI has made a huge difference in the way that businesses operate at the moment. We're going to be investing massively into AI in order to provide better scoring, in order to provide better decision model. And we're going to be also using Flinks enrichment in order to do that, plus all the information that we have in our credit bureaus. It's kind of cool to be able to co-create solution like that with amazing partners such as Flinks.
I think you touch on another very interesting point, and it's kind of that demand for personalization and tailored solutions from our customers now, right? Like there's so much competition in your space, in our space. It's how do you kind of stand out and stick out from the crowd? And I think one thing consumers are desperate for is that personalization and that touch, right, from a business. And so I think I'd love to hear at Flovver how you guys are thinking about personalization. I know from the financial wellness and health empowerment, you've really put a focus on that for the end user, which I think is awesome, because a lot of customers are either new Canadians or Canadians that have had bad credit in the past. They're not able to go to a financial institution to get a loan for whatever reason, and so how you're helping them get from a low credit score or no credit score if they're new to the country, and building that and growing with them. So would love to hear how you're seeing that evolve from your perspective.
Yeah, that's a very good point that you're touching, Eddie. Like, we really want to help consumers as much as we can to have access to credit as fast as they can. But we, like, with the financial education platform that we're working on, like, we really want to educate customers in order for them to understand, well, the consumers, in order for them to understand what are the terms that for the product that they're getting. So this is really important for us to be able to do that. And you were talking about, like, security and how we make a difference there. But I would like to say that one of the main concern that we're having right now, I would love to tell you that when consumers sees a SOC 2 certification, they would understand what this is, but the truth is that they don't even know what this is all about. So I think that there need to be more awareness from the government in order to protect consumers' information, so they would understand that when they share the information with the partners, such as us, such as Flinks, such as anyone, well, they understand that when they see that logo, that certification, or whatever it's going to be, they understand that their data is going to be protected and it's going to be handled in the proper way. So yeah, and we've worked, as you said, we've worked a lot in order to do lots of different personalization to help consumers at the end and also our customers. We've been working so hard on that.
Yeah, and I think it's going back to your point about all the fintechs that are on the phone. It's a tireless and endless job, right? You're never satisfied with status quo, and you're always striving for greater attraction from those customers. And I think loyalty, right? Like customer service and support breeds loyalty, and so again, in the opportunities for customers to go to multiple providers, how are you creating that loyalty really matters. We have a question from Darren that I will just throw over to you, Jimmy. It says, you indicated just the speed to which you were able to assist and fund the loan. How does that quantify in validating their credit score? So are you using credit scores within your adjudication model today? And if so, how?
Yeah, well, we have our own like credit bureau, as I mentioned, so that really helps in order to provide good insight to our customers to accelerate the process. And I think that with Flinks enrichment, that's also provide pretty good insight. So combining that, it's really easy to have a very fast process. So that's one of the main things that we do. We use our credit bureau, we use enrichment, and we're working very hard on the automation so we can like set in place the requirement that the lender is looking for to make sure that if the revenues are over that amount, if the credit score is over that amount, well, we can auto approve. So that's how we can accelerate the process. There's still a lot of improvement to be done on our side, but like the goal is always to have the fastest process as possible.
For sure. And I think part of that is probably how the data comes to you, right? Obviously, Flinks, we're a data aggregator and we provide that data. We're all hopeful that open banking will be here sooner rather than later. And I think that will, probably speed up that process even more, but more importantly, the data quality that you'll get from the financial institutions themselves and the reliability of it. So the ability to have that real-time feed from a consumer with their consent, of course, that's really where I think you'll be able to drive home those tailored solutions. If I know, what your income is and what your expenses are at a snapshot in time, that's great. But if I know on a daily basis where you're spending your money, how you're spending your money, I can then tailor products and services directly and pitch them to you.
Definitely. I think that the open banking will brings a lot of opportunities for lots of different companies out there. We're waiting for that. Like it's going to help our financial education platform, obviously having access in real time to that information, consumers' information, but consent, as you said. But I think that we still need to be careful to make sure that only the companies that has a certain level of security will have access to these information, because this can be scary that these information are being handled by companies that do not have that do not have a good level of security. So yeah, this is another concern that we're going to be fighting in the next few months, I guess. But
yeah. And I think, like you mentioned about SOC 2 certifications, that will probably become more widely known once open banking, is finally here and the ability to deliver data seamlessly. I think customers will demand certain security features. Obviously, the government will put the regulation behind which features need to be in place for, data portability. But I think you're right. Like once customers understand, hey, this place is secure, they're verified by a third party, they'll just have that much more sense of relief when dealing. We have a question from Gord, and it says, is your market focus for Canada or North America? Gord, from Flinks' perspective, we operate in both Canada and the US, but Jimmy, I'll throw that one over to you as well.
At the moment, we're only in Canada, but working really hard to get to the US market this year. So this was our next focus, obviously.
Yeah, fantastic. So yeah,
I don't know if other question, Eddie, but I would like to say, I think that the title of the conference was How to Succeed in the New Age of FinTech. One of my recommendation would be like go to market as soon as possible so you really understand those consumers and businesses behavior in order to adapt quickly your solution to make sure that you grow in the right direction with what the market really needs. So this is one of the recommendations that I would have for everyone that are listening.
Yeah, I think that's bang on. And folks, please continue with the questions. You know, we want to keep this as interactive as possible. But also from that perspective, Jimmy, like how are you then using that data to train your models and update them on a regular basis? Because clearly you're getting, you know, the more data you get, the better, but data can also be, you know, a challenge in understanding like which data to count on, which data points are more important than the others. So with all of the inputs of data that you're receiving, how do you guys manage it?
That's an amazing question, Eddie. To be honest with you, we're now more at the stage of collecting as much as information as we can. We have, I don't know, like billions of information. It's crazy all the information that we are having right now. And we're working very hard in order to know exactly what information we should take in order to create the best credit score. There's so much improvement to be done every month to make sure that we can deliver the best quality products to our customers. So I cannot answer 100% your question, but we're working very hard to make sure that we will be able to provide the best scoring to our customers, and also helping the consumers having access to the best credit facilities. Yeah.
Awesome. Going back to kind of how consumer behavior has changed, one thing that we're noticing a lot at Flinks, and we're not unique to this, I'm sure many fintechs are, it's obviously the digitization journey, but it's how customers are accessing you know, these loans or you know, any app basically that they're using. Overwhelmingly, it's on your smartphone, right? We're not seeing people using their computer as much. It's either an iPad or an iPhone, Samsung, whatever you have. I think that's one thing that often gets underlooked. It's the mobile experience or the mobile journey, whether it's done through an app or through a desktop. It's very different than when you're sitting at a computer and applying for an application, or I'm using my phone. And so how have you guys taken that into play from a consumer perspective? Because that's kind of managing two completely different pieces of technology, right? With the desktop versus the mobile.
That's a very good question as well, because this also brings more, like, I think that one of the questions was how to instill more trust into consumers. So I think that like having the best experiences possible with mobile and desktop brings more confidence for consumers. But yeah, we've been working very hard in order to have the fastest processes possible, the seamless processes possible, either on both mobile and desktop. It's not easy to do, but we have some amazing resources in-house in order to work on that. So it's very important to have pretty good access and to have a pretty good user experience, and even more when you're asking to get their banking information. Like if you have a very bad experience there, they might not share the information. So yeah,
it's actually spot on for a question we just received, because they asked, do you have any content for customers to build that trust? This customer is a customer of Flinks, and they noticed a significant drop off when at the Flinks step. So any content or strategy that you have to kind of instilling that trust? I know we at Flinks were there, our relationship managers and technical account management team would happily help assist you in some of those, the wording and building that understanding of why a user is connecting their account, but curious to see what you guys do.
Well, it's funny, Eddie, because we've worked really hard with your team in order to make sure that we've created the best seamless processes possible. So we've been evaluating lots of different forms that we've been working on. We've been adapting the page for IBB connection, really try to bring some more awareness to the consumers for them to understand why the process is going this way. And I think that people are getting more familiar with Flinks, with other partners in the industry, because I mean, a few years back, if we go back 3 years from now, I think that people were more scared connecting to their information, but now it seems like it's the norm. Like people are used to do that. So yeah, I mean, there's still some work to do on the form to make sure that consumers feel confident about exchanging that information. But yeah, I mean, that's all I can say.
For sure. And I think one strategy we really implore here at Flinks is walking the user through why they're connecting their account and what that information is going to do for them. A lot of the time, it has to do with speed, right? If you're receiving the bank account information through Flinks versus manually, their loan is going to be funded a lot quicker if they are able to connect their account and you're able to receive that data. That's one piece. And then the second piece is renewals. A lot of the time, they already have an account with you. They're able to log in seamlessly back to their Flinks account. So I think building that trust and transparency is key, and doing it through educating the end user on why they're connecting is super important. Another question here is, what is the typical range of the loans that you're providing to the market?
It can be anything. Basically, we build an amazing technologies that can really serve any type of loans. So the lender will choose whatever product he wants to offer to his customers, and we're just going to set the product for them. So yeah, it can be anything.
Yeah, and I think that's the benefit of Flovver is the embedded finance piece, if you will. Like, I think your hearing aid example was perfect, because you can finance hearing aids, or you can finance a loan, a consumer loan, an auto loan. You guys are agnostic to which loans you're underwriting. It's more of, you're looking for the right consumer or the right business to partner with. Is that fair to say?
That's exactly it. And like we've been implementing such a great technology, and I think that we're also trying to make sure that the lender that use our platform are as much as transparent as possible with the consumers, to make sure that the consumers really understand what they're getting into. So no matter what the loan is, we want to make sure that lenders are transparent. Lenders do not exceed some fees, because sometimes, for example, we've seen so much weird stuff in that industry, to be honest. Like it's very easy to become a lender. Everyone can go and register to have a lender permit, but lender license, sorry. But yeah, so we're actually working hard right now to limit some fees. Like, we don't want people charging $100 for NSF. It makes no sense to us. That's just a quick example, but it's the same thing for interest. So yeah, this is something that we really, really care about, and we're focusing hard to make sure that the consumers, are having the best experience as possible.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to your, the ability for you guys to look at a consumer and think of them long term. A, you're trying to create that loyalty. B, but also you're trying to help them get to a point where they have prime credit. Like, at the end of the day, if you can graduate someone all the way through your funnel, like, that's you doing your job as a lender. So I think that's phenomenal. I know we only have about 5 minutes left, so I would invite anybody else with questions to kind of drop them in now. But with the 5 minutes left, Jimmy, I'd love to kind of just get you to wrap up a couple points that you'd love for the audience to leave with today, and take home.
Well, as I said, like, go to market as soon as you can. That's one of my recommendation. Be careful with the security, like we've been talking about certification, but it's hard for fintech at early stage to get that certification, because like, you need to handle your business, you need to make sure that the sales are okay, you need to understand the regulation, you need to invest in security, and a SOC 2 certification, I think it's like a 6-digit investment every year. So like, that's a non-stop investment. So it's hard for fintech at early stage, but please look at different programs that exist to make sure that you can get that type of certification, to make sure to protect consumers' information. So that's what I would like to share. And I hope that people enjoyed the presentation. If you want to contact me directly after that, feel free to do it. I'm always super available and always open to speak with open-minded people.
Love that. Thank you, Jimmy. And from my perspective, I'd leave everybody with putting the consumer at the forefront of everything you do. I think we have to get back to a customer centricity model where the end user or the business that you're working with, they are all that matters. They're the ones that pay our bills. And so putting them at the forefront and helping them drive business outcomes that make sense for them is of utmost importance. Couple questions before we wrap up. One is, how does Flovver generate revenue? And do consumers looking for credit find, and how do consumers looking for credit find Flovver?
So how we generate revenues? Well,
Sorry,
it's more.
Flower, not Flovver. I was reading how they wrote it.
That's all good. It's more like a pay-as-you-go. So depending on all the different services that you're going to be using with our technology, we're going to be charging you directly. So that's also a good advantage for our customers, the businesses, because they only have one bill to pay for all the services that they use, rather Flinks, rather SMS that they send, transaction and everything. So it's really simple for them. So that's our model. Like it's more of pay-as-you-go, and depending on the different services and your volume we got different agreement possible. So yeah, that's our specific model. What was the second question?
Second one was how do consumers find you? How are you marketing yourselves?
That's funny, Eddie, because we do not market ourselves yet, and we're having a lot of requests. So that's one of the main reasons. But in 2025, I promise we will be marketing ourselves because we have a very solid solution. We've been working very hard in order to optimize our onboarding process because if we onboard 100 new customers next month, it's still a bit hard because we need to support these customers, we need to support these businesses, making sure that they understand how the system works and stuff. So we really put a lot of energy to make sure that we can support as best as we can all of our customers. So that's us.
Perfect. And the last question for today from Philip. You noted you have an issue with high fees and interest. What, in terms of an APR, would you consider excessive interest?
What I would consider excessive?
Yeah.
Well, depending on the different region, obviously, like it's not the same thing in Quebec, Canada. I think that in Quebec, 22% plus the bank rate. But there's different model here in Quebec, and like there's a lot of companies that do a microcredit here in Quebec, and they have different approach to that. So yeah, I would love to discuss that with anyone that would love more information. It's kind of a long subject, so I think that we have only 1 minute left. But yeah, I'd be happy to answer that question more in depth later. Yeah.
Great. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. This was recorded and we will send it out to all the attendees. Jimmy, really appreciate your time. Great conversation, and keep up the great work.
Thank you very much, Eddie. That was amazing. Thank you for the invitation one more time.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.